This is Dayo and welcome back to a personal code of conduct. Like today we'll be looking at like something I've always wanted to talk about, and I've been wondering like how I was going to go because it's like so broad. And it's about being middle class in a third world country because a lot of the time we exist in like this weird like middle space of knowing and not knowing, of just existing in this world. Especially and I also want to talk about like what is the difference, where is the line. I think that is one of the like my biggest I'm saying like a lot one of my biggest motivations in trying to develop a personal code of conduct and looking at topics and ways to look at them, ways to answer my questions and what have you. So like we are going to talk about like, so I don't know, whatever aspect I can think about and I'll share experiences and try and review them based on, as usual, stoicism, optimistic nihilism, and Ubuntu. I think being middle class in a third world country, you're at this point where you know it could be better. You know there are opportunities out there. You know that you can grow. You know many things, but you also don't know a lot but you know that you don't know. And you get like you know that there are opportunities for scholarships, but you don't know where to find these opportunities, even when you have access to the internet. You know that there are ways to build things, that awesome scientific inventions elsewhere, but you have no chance to contribute. So it's like, I think being middle class in a country like Nigeria, you're burdened with knowledge you cannot use, and it's just sad. So speaking about knowledge, we're going to talk about education in this like segment. Like for the most part, most middle class children go to middle class schools. Like Nigeria is the kind of country where our public education system, at least for primary school, is just total and arrant trash. So even like people in the lower middle class segments, I'm talking about people, small time artisans, small business owners, and even petty traders, send their children to like, I don't know, a grade D level private school. Then middle class people, I'd say people who work 9 to 5 in a decent corporation, not just like, because at this point in our history, I'd say 9 to 5 in a not so decent corporation, no matter your level of education, is just you're lower middle class. But like, that's the thing. So you're middle class, you work in 9 to 5. Let's say both of them are civil servants and working in different aspects of the federal government, not state governments, federal government. So like both, then what kind of school they send to? Their primary school would definitely be a private school. It wouldn't be a class D private school, but it would be a private school. Then secondary school, it can be a class D secondary school, because secondary school is really expensive. Sometimes, especially if they have like fewer children, they can close their eyes and be like, we're going to send them to like a normal class C school that every class B or C school that every middle class child goes to. Then for and from university, I don't think any civil servants, unless they are married to like a rich business person, like I don't think anybody in private school, their parents are like civil servants. I just don't think so. Even in those church private schools, I don't think anybody's parents are civil servants in those places. That's for university. Then, and also for secondary school, like middle class people, at least like then, I don't know about now, are open to sending their children to like federal public secondary schools, because well, there's more funding, they have like a higher amount of donors, but like they have a higher amount of donors and whatever, but like that's just the foundational background. But the question is, how does it feel to be educated when you're like middle class? Like a lot of people like to mention that they are middle class, but like but I feel some people are upper middle class by the Nigerian settings, but we're like, until you are rich in Nigeria, we are all broke by like, okay, we are all poor. Okay, I'd call a middle class person broke, but we are like by worldwide settings But like by like worldwide status, like everybody up to freaking, like I don't even make up to $150 a month. Like my like income is just a joke, and I don't let me get into that. I'm probably going to speak about it because there's a different section and I'm starting to go off. So the thing about education in Nigeria as a middle class person, as I began, is that you know that there are better things you could do with your life. You know that there are opportunities. You know that there are chances to grow. You know that there are different stories. You know that, but you just it's like, is it terrible when you know? Like it feels horrible but you're also aware of the privilege that you have. You are more than aware of the privilege that you have. A lot of middle class kids, they enter school, but they are not acquainted with the sun. So you can't say that they are lower. Like what I'm even describing as lower middle class, somebody in first world country will be like, oh my god, such extreme poverty. But and there is just like, well, and those people probably, I don't know, because it's not right to assume what people think in their head. That's just unfair and like judgy. So like, but like probably, which I'm currently doing what I said not to do, they probably be thinking they're better than a beggar or something. And I was like young when I realized that, like, I know there could be so much more, but like in the society we are around, it could have been so much worse. And I think that's like a lot of things that middle class people face, because you are so protected from like the kind of society your nation is. It's very jarring when you're like no longer in your high walls, so to speak, because your parents tried as much as possible to protect you. They couldn't afford the best schools, but because everybody was like you in whatever school that you went to, it was like your whole country was like this. So when people gained like independence, freedom, and they met people of different wealth backgrounds, like usually that used to happen in like university, but now it's mostly happening in the workplace, because like uni, like to get into like a federal university, you most likely would be middle class. The people who aren't middle class, either abroad or in a private uni. Then the people who who aren't rich, unless they are really brilliant, not because federal exams or anything are hard, but because most people require having private tutors, going to extra lessons, doing extra remedials in preparation for their exam. So if your parents don't have the resources to pay for that, you probably won't get into a federal university on your first try. Most of them usually go to like smaller, more obscure schools in the middle of God knows where. Like I don't see any Lagos parents, like they'd rather you stay at home than them sending you to, like, yes, we are like that shielded. I don't see any middle class Lagos parents or any middle class Ocean parents sending their child to like a small school in which they don't know anybody, they're not aware of the situation of how everything exists, and just sending their child far away. But like some people do, but some people are like, whatever, it's be fine. But like a lot of us are coddled in a sense. So I don't even, like, that's the thing, you don't remember what you wanted to say at the point of, the brain is meant for having ideas and not for implementing them. But like education, like for example, I'm going to try and remember like my university days. I literally can't remember almost the names of, I can't remember names of anybody in my class except like the ones I have like on my status, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm a bad person. AKA, this statement just says, Dayo, don't ever put this on your class group chat. But then again, they probably don't remember me either. So like win-win. Yeah. And then what else? So it's like we knew that there were things to be done. It's like you're aware of your lack of equipment, and that's something that I feel a lot of. It's a blessing and a curse, because you know where you're lacking, you know where you're going to try and push forward, But like, if you don't even know, like for example, a school in the middle of nowhere with no in a poor state government where they constantly go on strike, they wouldn't even be aware that, okay, this is what we are behind. This is the kind of thing that we need to know, especially when we go for postgrad. I remember having this I wasn't having the conversation, I was just sitting down, and these people were like, oh, casually, oh, we decided he'd go to South Africa for his bachelor's degree, the things these children face in their postgrad. And my mom was just like, oh yeah, the things they face. They say they really struggle a lot in their postgrad when they go to first world countries, and they're like, okay, yeah, that's another thing, aspect of education, is like, okay, now that you've run away, because a lot of people use like education as a means to just leave, to continue to run away, to emigrate. Yes, that's the word I was looking for, that I kept on going up and down. They used education as a means to emigrate. And I'm like, people are like, yeah, it's like, at first, the scoring system is difficult. A lot of people are just there like, first worlders are quite stupid. I wouldn't say stupid, but I don't know any first world. I'd say like there are more tools. So people who are used to struggling with all their might and all their soul and giving it their all, they'd probably do well, because they have because you have access to more understanding teachers who are willing to listen to you, to tell you where to go and stuff like that. But then again, it's always weird, and I want to actually know, is it that Nigerians go to better schools abroad? Because a lot of Nigerians are like, when they went to whatever school abroad, they always the lecturers are so understanding, they things are well thought out, very clarified. But when you see Americans talking about their own schools already, they talk about the lecturers like they don't care, and I'm like, who's telling the truth? Or maybe Nigerians are looking at the whole situation in rose-colored glasses, maybe they need to meet each other a midway point, or maybe they're just the Nigerians are just lucky to go to better schools, and people who go to good schools borrow their good school to make it seem as if look at the awesome school I'm in comparison to the Nigerian school. No, you went to a fucking school in some random ass poor European countries. It's not going to be that different like that. But then again, you'd probably be able to build more stuff. I don't know, I'm bitter because people are I could go on YouTube and learn to fix a car. I don't need to learn that in university. They don't know what I know, I guess. But it's not like I can use what I know, but because right now I'm a fucking ISO consultant. Well, but I don't see my I want to move on and try and create other plans and move forward and stuff like that. Then what else? I also want to touch on other things when we talk about jobs and whatever. Then that's the worst thing. I'll probably remember and stuff. But being middle class so that can just be summarized that being middle class in Nigeria in the aspect of education is being painfully aware of what it is you don't have. Next, so it's about next. What are we going to talk about? Next, I want to look at education in Nigeria, the experience you have as a young person in the I say a lot. Before my my vocal take used to be, and the girl was so I was or maybe I'm just being awkward. What next? So it's now looking at education in Nigeria from the point of, because stoicism in general, I feel, is about accepting the fact that you cannot control things and controlling yourself and looking inward. Yes, stoicism is about looking inward for improvement and abandoning and ignoring things you cannot control. But I also want to add this line. I probably might see it when I go on to read other Stoics other than Seneca or Marcus Aurelius. I probably go on to read other books by either modern Stoics or ancient Stoics or whatever. Because they might include something There might be large things that are beyond your control, but those large things can be broken into tiny things, especially that you can, especially situations that have so many variables, but you know that one of those millions of variables is you. So it's important to take charge of something or work towards a dramatically long goal, like something that is so wide that if you look at it in, like, just as a big picture, you interpret it as not being able to do anything, or you interpret it as something beyond your control. So it's, for example, if your whole goal was to reform your country, it's important to like properly study your country and decide what tiny steps you're going to take to improve it. Are you going to dedicate your life to it, or will it be a side hustle, like not for money, like a hustle of the heart? So it's like, yes, so that is stoicism to me. So stoicism, education in Nigeria in form of stoicism. I cannot control the things that I cannot control. I cannot control the fact that schools are trash in Nigeria. Maybe I could be like, I am a small variable, and if I decide to make that as part of my, my life's mission, I could. But well, I don't know yet. Oh god, I can no longer say I'm 22 because I'm 23 next month, but like, I have 7 years. I want to make best out of these 7 years. I do not want to be hungry or hated, because in the space of 2 months of just working, I'm already becoming a hateful old lady. So what was I saying? I go off track a lot. Anyways, I cannot control the state of our schools. I cannot control what I can control, but to some extent, and for the most part, I was lucky in Unilag that we didn't have like really fucked up lecturers. So you could, without question, in the faculty of engineering Unilag, control your own grades by studying and being like there. But like, I'm beyond the part, like my 2-1 is my 2-1. If I zeroed my mind that I wanted the first class, maybe things would have been easier, but I don't know, I'm not sure. But like, people are going through different parts. I mean, we graduated in 2018. Let's just count NYSC March 2020 as the time we graduated because of NYSC IRO. But we need to understand that we are going somewhere. So I'm going to be here hopefully for at least 80 years. I've spent 22 of those 80 years. I won't count the last decade of my life because I want to spend it getting massages, but like, I have 60 more years to be happy. 60 more years to be happy. But then again, if Nigeria becomes a better country, I might live to 120, or I might be drowned in plastics. I don't know, and die of cancer or what have you. But like, I don't want to think as far as 60 years, but in the next 7 years, I want to make a 7-year plan. I'll be 30 in 7 years. In the next 7 years, I want to decide what I can control, what I can't control. Because to be honest, I get distracted very easily. But I surprisingly was able to like study in university, even with my very, very distracted brain. Because I don't know, checklists. So where was I? I was saying that it's like totally went off points. Since I can't control the state of things, I can control myself. And what's in myself and about my education, I can control. Now that I'm out of this, I can control what I do with my time. That's one thing that I need, because in the sense of education, and that's one thing that if anybody still in uni is listening to this thing, it's like, do something, create something, join, I don't know, learn something. And I'm not saying tailoring or fashion designers or whatever, those are very creative, amazing fields, but in our nation like Nigeria, it's too saturated because a lot of people are, they're just a lot of talented, amazing people. But if you know that it is your passion, then you should go for it. But I think that it's important to like try and tap into the global economy. That's one thing. This is me telling myself that, Dayo, you have to tap into the global economy. You cannot be earning slightly above minimum wage for the rest of your life. I wanted to jump off. and wanting to just and hating spending 7 hours 30 minutes in the office and giving deadlines or what have you. You have to, if you're going to start in it, you have to tap into the remote community. So it's like, as somebody who is middle class in a poor country, my one thing that I'm telling myself and telling whoever is agreeing with me or going with me on this journey, or you could say something different. Tap into the global economy. Find a way to be out of your country while in it. That's it. You control what you learn. You control the far you with the minimal access to the internet. I'm not going to go and be like, oh, don't watch YouTube and have fun and whatever, because that's pretty much all I do when I'm not working like an office job. And I sometimes I even think and it helps me like forget the fact, because I like to think that if I didn't accept my job, I probably have a better one. I don't know, and I feel like pressured not to leave the place, because even though the pay is small, they're understaffed, and I'm like, I feel like I'd just be throwing people in boiling water. But then again, I hope to get better, I guess. So then, for optimistic nihilism, like I said, like it always says, I think they're just so, like, it's just so easy. Nihilism just says, oh, it's all meaningless, you make the rules. But there are other things, there are other caveats and whatever, because in the end, you can't build a society with somebody who's very super far off from you in all issues. But it's all meaningless. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of discovery or building fire or starting things? Like, whether it's 100 years or it's 20 years, you're going to die. Whether you discover phenomenons or you finally understand what lightning is and not the work of some gods, lightning will still strike. It will always strike, whether you know what it is or not. Whether you harness the power of the sun, or whether you harness the power of water or fire to create electricity, the world or the universe will continue, and it's okay that we are insignificant. It's fine that we are insignificant, because you are here, and it's important to like understand that yes, everything is freaking trash, but like I'm here. I might go, like that's the key thing. I know this might not like hold for everybody, because a lot of people might be seriously considering doing this horrible thing, but like sometimes they're like, am I going to go and kill myself? No, I'm not. That's like, but that can only hold true as far as I truly do not want to kill myself. So that's I'm just there, like I can't change it. So like optimistic nihilism, in my own opinion, is taking the ignore what you can't control to the extreme, but also flipping it in a sense. It's like, it's not making it your duty to control it. It's just like, use common sense. That everything is meaningless, meaning you shouldn't stress about it. But you live in society. Some of people who feel some things are meaningful. Some of people you coexist with. So you use your common sense to move through life and ensure that it is as you live it with as little stress as possible. Next, Ubuntu, education and society, because Ubuntu is basically about the society. It's basically about the language, it's basically about coexisting with other people, and that's one thing I love Ubuntu about. A lot of people speak so many different, like so many philosophy, and it's just based towards themselves, as if they're some kind of amazing, unique. And to be honest, I'm not fully convinced everybody is real, but that's okay. Like, that's okay, but it's completely okay, because understanding that people have the right to their own bodies, people have their own right to their own actions, people have a right, so it makes it easier to understand that no matter what somebody thinks of me, even if it's the worst thing, I won't just say I wasn't the one that gave birth to them, because there are some things that even the people who gave birth to you shouldn't have rights over. But like, I am not them. That is the key word. I am not them, so I cannot choose for them. I cannot. So there's no point stressing them. So we see how three of them, but in society their opinions do matter. But it's a question of where is the line, and the line is helped to be drawn by optimistic nihilism and stoicism. You understand that You are not unique, and that's okay. Okay, I won't say you. I am not a unique human being. Human beings are not unique, but we think we are, and that is what makes us special. And it's okay that it's okay that we decide that this is where we want to go to, this is what we want to do with our lives and what have you. But you need to understand that you affect society. So even though you cannot use this other human beings journey, this other human beings progress, they are part of a society that you are contributing to. They are part of growth, of order, of structure, of what have you. So it's important that we seek happiness. It's important that we seek control. So in the sense of education, the education of our society, the education of our youth will ensure that nobody will break into my house and rape me. It will ensure that I won't be tortured. It ensures that children are happy. It will ensure that everybody is living their best life. It will ensure that everything is, I wouldn't say amazing, but education and the utilization of that knowledge. Not that you study something amazing but there's no job for you, and it happens all over the world. But I think they should only teach things that you can earn a living wage for and take short courses for everything else. Do you get? So that it could be okay, this is a passion project, even though this is something that I love from the bottom of my heart, and I know I will probably earn anything from it. So I think that's all on education. I don't think I properly explained it and whatever. I just kept on dragging on and on. But I'll probably go through this topic once again. The next thing we're going to talk about, in this whole being a middle class person in the third world, is job opportunities. I think this ties really well into education, because in the end, you know what you could be worth because of an education, ordinarily the kind of education you should have had. And even if you went abroad to get this education, because I remember there was a period of time, that period in 2010 to 20, so where everybody went to the UK to study, but now it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it at all. So because in the end they have to go back to the Nigerian job market, and the Nigerian job market is trash. As I think it's very important. This is me telling myself. This is called personal code of conduct. I'm just looking for people who agree with me and maybe want to go on their own personal journey. But this is me telling myself that I cannot look at myself doing the traditional Nigerian path, because there is almost no future for a young person. Either no corporate ladder to climb. So I have to look to make my own path, make my own career choices, and ensure that I'm happy whether I choose to stay or go. And the thing is that my biggest worry is to be seen as a hypocrite, because I literally carry the flag of, it will be better one day, and I still genuinely think that. Or maybe we'll all kill ourselves and die. I don't know. It's just point is that if we die, please don't let my mom be paying for a beg. I don't want to be murdered and kept in the I don't know, in some crazy guy's harem and tortured to death or that kind of stuff. So if we are going to all go mad and ruin this country, please kill Dayo first. Yeah, I don't want to go through the refugee dramatic situations. No. What was I saying about job opportunities? I don't think this is going to be long, because it ties in very well to education. There are opportunities out there, but they are just not your access. Now, I was having this conversation with with a colleague of my older sibling, and she was an older colleague, so she was one of those WhatsApp message spreading, forwarding people, and it was one of those inspirational quotes about how young graduates, education makes you pompous and loud and annoying. To be honest, I understand where that is coming from. Because there are certain things that I can't even imagine myself doing because I went to uni. But other than that, like education makes you understand, like it makes you know exactly how behind you are with like your mates in the rest of the world. And maybe that is a limiting factor, but in the end, to try and minimize somebody's worries, somebody's fear, somebody's dream, somebody's hope into, oh, you're pompous because you went to a trash college. And that's the thing about like countries that are not moving forward, in a sense, that are just remaining stagnant. And in like, there's like, it's different when you see, yes, your country is a third world country, but the vibe, it will be different when you are moving upward every day, even if your government is a crazy bunch of psychopaths. Like, you guys know who we are talking about, right? Like, there's something about like when you're a poorer country, but you know that tomorrow is going to be better than next. There's just this feeling of, yeah, it's going to be better, but it doesn't. It's different when you're living in a country that has always been uncertain, that as you feel like it's just being dragged along by the rest of the world. And yeah, you feel, and just like with the educational section, you feel bondage by the knowledge that you have, the knowledge that it could have been better. I think that's what prevents people. But like with our parents' help, with everything, we can create packaging systems. Everything will be nice. You can, like, for example, she was talking about rebranding. But my key point was, yeah, sure, we're talking about, but we're looking at it in this kind of irritating aggrandization, I think. Is that the correct word to use? Like, we're thinking like, oh, middle class Nigeria is the only Nigeria. Middle class Nigeria is the severe minority. I think like in Lagos it might look like, okay, a majority of people are middle class, but if you look at the context of our whole country, middle class Nigeria is a minority, and we are considered rich like the rest of the real rich people in the whole country by the rest of the country. So what would the rest of the country do? If you're asking a college graduate to become a Tyler, what would Yariska's son become? What would Eloho from the village become? I don't know what. You're asking a college graduate to do this, so what would the people who are not exposed but they are aware of these opportunities, like the same way we are aware of like becoming a scientist or becoming this or creating new things, cosmetic chemistry, all those like opportunities and growth. Like right now almost everybody's a cosmetic chemist. I don't know, it's like I'm just pushing that out there. And also Dayo, I'm probably going to talk about my skincare journey, but that's like a way. And you need to realize that and we need to realize that if we create, like, we'll be no different from the Walmarts of the world. We'll be no different from the like massive businesses that ruin the lives of small people. What if we just made giant, beautiful businesses with small, sparkly, small SMEs that like people can go in? What about the woman with an umbrella in the shop when you are selling her smoked fish cheaper? You're selling her smoked fish cheaper because you have access to better equipment. You're selling it cleaner and nobody's freaked out about having diarrhea and stuff. What will she do with her life? She doesn't know these things. She doesn't have access to the information that she can use to improve the quality of her smoked fish. There are some people in segments of society that ordinarily they won't have access to any information because of their station in society. They will have to be dragged forward when society moves forward. Like, it has to be part of a set training that these people undergo as society moves forward, because at the segment of society that they are in, there's no way they can have these opportunities independently. And the key thing about education, I wish I mentioned this education, is that it's not just about like, people are like, oh, university students, like, to be honest, like, even though you're gaining very little in like public universities in Nigeria, it's about the vibes. Like, to be honest, it's about the vibes. And I'm not thinking vibes in like parties. Like, you get to meet people from different backgrounds, people that know things that you don't know. Like, most people, in my opinion, any younger person, I wish I was back in uni. I'm so old. Okay, to everybody older than 23, sorry, yeah. But like, to go back to uni and be like, and to go back to uni and meet people who know things I don't know, people who have access to opportunities I have no idea about. I know people who have decided to like form hard-hitting hustlers from uni, and they're like in places that I don't know. Like, I get angry at my irritating unambitiousness. I think I've mentioned this before, like throughout university, because in Unilag there are opportunities for growth that people had and they grasped, but I didn't. So it's like I'm playing catch up right now. But like I'm being like the fact that okay, Dayo is 1 year younger than her age mates anyway, so like her classmates anyway, so like she can do this. But I don't think I want anybody to play catch up. I want like the university environment, especially like when you have like spaced out classes, you're not like going from 9 to 4 and you have like space to actually relax. I need you to find people like I'm basically saying something I regret, people that know things you don't know, people that have experiences different from you, and try and not necessarily a business, like what I was saying in the education, try and push yourself into the global markets before you graduate, because you won't have time when you're working a fucking like Nigerian 9 to 5. But like it's important that you push yourself into the global markets and give yourself skills that you don't need to be outside Nigeria. You don't need to be outside Nigeria to survive. You can get these global skills within Nigeria and improve yourself within Nigeria. Now if you start working like me, like don't fall into your routine. That's literally what I'm trying to cure myself of. I think that's what next week is going to be about, trying to cure myself about my routine. Even though we've started a big project and tomorrow is going to be, this week is going to be crazy crunch. Then what else? I think that's all I have about jobs. But like the thing about starting is that I know that I'll probably revisit all these topics like later in the future when I know more, when I'm better experienced, when I sound better, when I get like more people to listen than just 3. Yeah, I guess that's it for job opportunities. Okay, that's not it for all of it. Like, what do I want to say about job experiences? I cannot control, according to Stoicism, I cannot control the job market the same way I could not control the educational system. Maybe I could work towards going to get into the forefront of it. Now it's a question of would that be my life goal? But that's another topic for another time. But what can I control about my own about my own job opportunities? I can control the skills that I have, which is basically iterating on like the education or something. I can control where I look for it. I can control trying. I can control improving. I can control looking for ways to seem more attractive. And with optimistic nihilism, it is meaningless. Like, yeah, sure, you got the job and work like 9 to 5 to 6. Is that okay? That's why it's important. Like, no matter what job you do, even if it's a job that you enjoy, don't give it all your life. Do other things with your life. Impact others. Have fun. Like, you literally don't have much time left. In the grand scheme, in the age of the earth, you are literally even less than the blink of an eye. So do more than just your job. Next is Umutu. We need jobs. We need jobs for our society. We need jobs to grow. We need jobs to give people purpose. We need jobs for function. We need jobs to ensure that society remains stable. And in order for all members of society to work, we need structure. Now, the job market may be unfair, but I should find a way to contribute to improving its fairness, to ensuring that the generations after me will not go through what I went to. And I think that is one thing that I want to speak up. Like, I will never respect anybody that says, well, you have it easy. Look at what I went through. I feel that as a human being in whatever society, it is not a matter of what you went through. It's to ensure that it is easier for the people who come after you. Because that is the way humanity can move forward. It must continue to be easier. Because in the end, I don't know, my fantasy is that we become a galactic empire. That is probably not going to happen in my lifetime. So I hope reincarnation is like a thing. So yeah, I kind of hope that it's a thing. So like, I don't even want to remember this life, because this is a life filled with doubts, questioning, trying to know myself, being in a like situation I don't want to be, understanding that I'm blessed in context of the societal something, and also trying to draw a line between. I think that this is something, because this is something that is important for like middle class anybody. It's like you are aware that you are blessed by how, describe blessed however you want to, but you are aware that you have opportunities that many people in your society do not. And I feel that it will be an insult to the society that brought you up if you don't grasp the opportunity to be better, so you can pull along more people, and you don't even have to look at it. That's why I like the whole concept of selfish something. I'm not saying we need a better Nigeria because my heart is bleeding or whatever. I was walking by because I just started like walking long distances, and I said, and there was like a fight broke out between a bunch of like people who I don't know whether it was like uneducated, like it was beggars on the railway, or they were just like gangsters, like basically agberos. Not even agberos actually have a job. Basically like all these 1 million boys type of people in the afternoon, so all the shop people had to close. And I was like, in a better country these people would not have been born. I understand that you're saying, okay, our betters, but like when I'm saying better country, in a better society for all of humanity, think of humanity, the entire world as one society. These people will either have not been born or be doing fantastic things with their lives. And I think that's all about job opportunities right now. So like the other first time wasn't all about it, and I'm too lazy to edit anything. I'm already late. So the next thing we are moving on to is romance, love. I think romance also ties into the next thing, which is sexism. Yeah, but like not much, I think, because I think as a middle class person in Nigeria, like falling in love, like forming wokeness. Let's start with, because I think romance should be a section of just sexism. So let's just start with sexism. Okay, like let's start with sexism. Like as a woman, or like as a she person, yeah, there are things that like you can get away with because they're like, oh, women can't do this. You can get away with being like slightly more annoying, and people like let you have it because they're like, it's like using the horrible misconception to your advantage because you're too lazy to actually improve, and that's not something that is good or like advisable. So the next thing, what I wanted to say, like sexism, like I think I wanted to write a book one time, not a book or Dayo books. I wanted to write like a Wattpad like stuff on where I was like, is this sexism? Like I don't know if I've experienced sexism, but I know dudes who were sexist, because I did like engineering, and there's some dudes, the words that used to come out of some dudes' mouths, I'm like, who raised you? Gross. Like, who the fuck is going to fuck this one? That's literally, I'm like, oh my god. Whoever sleeps with this one is a traitor to womankind. But then again, most human beings are a traitor to humankind. What's more womankind? The whole thing was, what's the word I'm looking for? The whole thing was like, now, like the key thing, I think the key topic with middle class Nigeria, the key thing that affects people like with sexism in middle class Nigeria is chores. Like we have marriages, like women have started to work, like, and it wasn't even a gradual, we fought for our freedom, whatever. We had no choice but to just be in the, like, some people didn't even ask for their freedom, they just found themselves in the workforce because they had to work. There was just not enough, and everybody, like the archaic something was like, oh, the man will come back from work. I'm coming back from work too. Fuck you, I'm coming back from work too. I've been in the same Lagos traffic as you. My mind is fucking exploding. Why should I cook? Do you get? So I think it's very important that people have real conversations, and I think this is not just like, this is like a romance sexism tie-in. So like, I don't know. It's like people need to have real conversations with their significant other, because a lot of, especially men in my generation, they are spoiled rotten. Like they know how, like, I think mothers in my mother's generation, and they tried to like get their sons to do stuff, and the only ones who really succeeded are the ones that have just sons. In the end, because like their sons will go outside and they'll hear like things like, oh, okay, you guys wash plates in your house, you guys do this, you guys do that. Like, I don't work in my house and like feel among now. So you have some, and what are you going to do? He's fucking bigger than you. The day he fucking shouts one day and he's like, guy, I'm like, I will beat you up if you talk like that. What are you going to do? He has gotten bigger than you. Like, seriously, what? Like, what? That is the audacity that men think they have. Because, oh my god, you're strong. Wow. Annoying. But like, we are both going through the dramatic, disgusting Lagos traffic. Now, it's very important that we sit down and quantify, like properly quantify, not in monetary terms, in emotional terms, not in monetary terms, in stress terms, because the woman might be earning a lot less than the man, which most likely happens in a lot of places, but her work is way more demanding. It's unfortunate that some places take more than they give. Some places where you work take more than give. So it's supposed to, who gets home first? Who is more stressed? Who has a bigger deadline? And the other person should pick up the slack. Or just be very rich. Both sides should be very rich before you get married and pay somebody to do everything. Money hides a lot of like issues. Just be very rich and promise yourself you'll never be broke and pay somebody to do everything. Next is, because we have a lot, like an insane amount of men, like, yeah, like they can have this woke culture, but why would you like leave your advantages, so to speak, for disadvantages that you don't even have, like for things that you don't even have like access to, you don't know about, what have you. So what should we do? Where was I was talking more about like romance and like the romantic situation in Nigeria is like, we found ourselves thrown out into the streets. I don't think anybody does any be thrown out. So a lot of people who are like emotionally stressed, like they're not able to confidently make like dating decisions, sexual decisions, like, and yes, I also importantly want to talk about like sex in middle class Nigeria, but like I'm just going to skim over it because I think that will be like a lot of this stuff will have to be a whole topic on its own, like several times, because my opinions on these things will change. Like, this is also another thing when you're burdened by knowledge. A middle class woman is burdened by knowledge that it could be better. She should have a partner that is respectful to her, that is willing to do house chores, take care of children. And I think a lot of marriages are becoming like that. People are like, because especially in Lagos is hard. Like, if you're not washing plates, fuck you. Like, nobody wants to marry you, especially if you're not rich. Like, if you're not rich and you told yourself that, okay, we are going to be the flat couple, work till we are 60, build a house like on the outskirts of Lagos, build a house, like rent a flat, like for most of our years, build a house on the outskirts of Lagos to retire to. That is going to be our life story, because that's the life story of most people in Middle America. Why am I saying Middle America? Jesus Christ, like Jesus Christ. America has entered everybody's consciousness when they're talking about like everything. Should I cut that out? Leave that in. You understand that this is still trash here. In middle class Nigeria, and it's like we need to help each other. And I think that's one thing. Like, being middle class in a third world country is like, you have to face first world problems and third world problems at the same time. Like, for example, somebody who is poor in a third world country is facing all third world problems, and it is at an incredible severity that you are certain that you will break if you were to face those problems. But like, as a middle class person, it's like you are not facing as many third world problems as someone poorer than you, because money solves those problems. But you're facing first world problems like body issues. Everybody has body issues, but like when you're middle class, you actually have time to look at your body and be like, like every human being has body issues, every human society has beauty standards. Everybody feels like, okay, but like when you are like any form of middle class, either lower middle class, like basically if your food needs are met, like your mind now has space for rubbish and nonsense, like body issues, body image issues. I'll probably like go through this, like the concept of beauty again, because especially since like I just shared my phone. Okay, this sounds very jump cutty, but it's not. Like it's recorded in a continuous loop. I'm not editing anything. I just changed my phone, so what's the definition of like sadness that last week was like the loss of 40 minutes of talking. Like, god, I talked for so much and it was so interesting, like my thoughts on beauty, but like I couldn't remember them anymore, whatever. So like that's just sad, and I need to like learn to properly arrange this thing. This is part of the Dayo arrange your life vibe. Where were we? We talked about like what's the word? We talked about I'm the only one here. We talked about like arranging what's the word? Arranging, like ensuring that people in marriages, middle class Nigeria, understand that we are an equal partnership. Like that's the one thing, like it's a two-way street, to be honest. Like even when in relationship, you understand, like you don't just expect the dude to spend or anything. Like if I ever get into a relationship, it's still because I'm stressed, because my own idea of a relationship is understanding that this person, if you choose to be in a relation to this person, you have to decide that this person's wants and need are near equal to my own. And if you decide to marry them and breed with them, you need to understand that this person is going to be an extension of myself. And which I think a lot of people are not. They're not understanding the gravity that is relationship. And I'm so glad that, like, I don't know. I'll probably talk about like my middle school. Why am I saying middle school? Oh, Nigeria. You live in Nigeria. My secondary school, like issues with my face and like, I don't know. I'll probably go over talking secondary school and like relationships. Like I should have like a whole something on just relationship and what's the word and sexism and understand like and sexism and how it affects both genders in relationship. That's like, yeah, that's a title: sexism and how it affects both genders in relationships. So it's not just going to be sexism towards women, it's like also men facing severe sexism. So where was I let me see. So we've covered like people in marriages, we've covered women just thrust into the workforce. Now let's talk about like in Nigeria. I don't think, like, what do we even do? Like I'm going to ask people, I'm going to have a conversation. Yes, my romance podcast is going to be is going to be a conversation with someone else. It has to be, because Dayo has never been in a relationship. Dayo has sort of maybe almost gotten in one, but like nah. By Dayo, I like to talk about myself in third person sometimes, so I get used to the weirdness. What else? I don't think there's anything else to say. There probably is a lot to say. There's always a lot to say. It's just my thoughts are not organizing. So like this is what episode 6, and Dayo hasn't written proper outlines or anything. It's like it's so easy to follow to the routine of office phone. Yeah. So that's enough about romance. Now let's look at it from the viewpoints of our three philosophies. What can I control? I think that's the important thing about stoicism, because every time you look at whatever, it's always the conclusion of about looking inward. That's how we make decisions, and a stoic should make decisions. First, what can I control? What can I control about like being a woman and also falling in love in Nigeria? Then I think romance, I cannot control how people perceive me as a woman, especially as a female engineer, one who hasn't practiced in a while, but I will practice. I don't know, or just go straight into finance and become another female engineer stereotype of how they never practice. So what was your point? I will practice, I think, sort of. I don't know. Maybe I'll go into software like everybody. Nobody is practicing in my class. I cannot control what people think about me. I cannot control. That's the main thing about sexism. So I should not let it bother me. I cannot control. I should not let it bother me, but I can control, as with the education, with the job opportunities, the impact I bring to the table. I can control myself. I can control my anger eventually, which is something like I'll probably have a conversation, like a whole like introspection and how like anger works with me and all those kind of stuff. I can control my anger. I can control my disappointments. I can't control those emotions, but I can ensure that I understand where they are coming from, and I try to, fix the root problem before they overwhelm me. Next, about romance. Like, this is something that most people can control. I cannot control the selection of men because I'm a straight human being. I'm definitely straight. I'm a straight human being. I cannot control the selection of men I have, but I can decide. I can't control the selection pool, but I can choose. I can decide what I select in the pool, and I'm going to probably choose somebody who I can have real conversations with. And anecdotes, I know this is probably going to tie in somewhere, so I want to say it like so that I can remember it like in the far future. Somebody was it was a comment, or I think it was Reddit. It should be Reddit. That kind of thing is on Reddit. I don't know. The dude was like, I think it's when I'll probably go back to this when we have like a full blown talk on, like, I keep saying we, like I'm not doing it, but I'll probably like on romance. When I talk about romance, I think in like 2 weeks time, or next week concept, I must have somebody to talk to. Like, I want to like talk with several people who have been in like real relationships. So, romance. No, not romance. That was not what I was thinking about. My mind flies away up and down. Romance. I can't. Okay. Well. Oh yes. I can. So like, if I'm going to choose somebody, it's going to be on my own terms. Like, it's not necessarily on both our terms. Okay, yes. I was talking about this anecdote. We are leaving it all in. Dayo doesn't have energy to edit anything, especially like it's so late right now. The conversation was like this. I think it was how we're talking about emotional manipulation, and he was like, sometimes he gets the hints that his girlfriend is putting out, but he doesn't answer her because she's like, "You're a big girl. Use big girl words." Both of them are wrong in the situation. Like, you are doing exactly what she's doing. Do you get? You're supposed to you know that she's giving hints. You've studied her character enough, but you need to understand that you need to tell her, the person, in my own opinion, both of them are assholes in their relationship. But the woman might be an unconscious asshole. She was probably raised. I know it might seem like I'm just trying to like protect the woman because I'm a she person, but like, a lot of women were taught to be not direct, that it is not feminine to be so direct. And it's not like somebody is to be like, when you're being direct, it's just you look at how other women around you act and you emulate them. We are not unique in this life. We are a combination of everything that's managed to soak into our body, and we are also a combination of things that we have chosen to we are a combination of things that we have chosen to absorb, and things that we've outright rejected. That is what makes us like unique, but the actual makeup of ourselves is not. So if he feels she's giving hints and she's not being direct, he should be direct and say that, "You're giving me these hints. I think this is what they mean, but I will not respond to them until you have a proper conversation with me on what it is exactly you want." If you're having a relationship with somebody and it is beyond, like, it's not a physical relationship, it's an emotional connection, you must settle down and have a real conversation. But that is because having a relationship, you need to understand that this person is a person. Like, you can't just, that's the thing that a lot of women, like human beings in general, have, is that we have all unconsciously dismissed the other person as real. Like, we've all unconsciously dismissed the other person. Like, I as like maybe like as children we don't realize that people are people and we are just like behaving anyhow. Because in a sense people act as if other people are not real people, because the disturbing fact that you do not have access to their thoughts, and that is very scary. So is that all for romance / sexism? I think that's all that I can think about. I've gone over the stoic aspect of it. Oh yeah, I haven't gone over the optimistic nihilism aspect of it. Well, like I said, it's all fucking trash. Our existence is basically less, even way less than the blink of an eye in the earth context. In the earth context. So it's important that whatever relationship you are choosing to go to, whatever career you are choosing to go to, you must never let your gender, your race, or whatever stop you. But you must be honest with yourself. Why are you doing this? Like, it's one thing that I think I'm lucky that I genuinely like the things I did. But I'm never going to do something just because no women are there. I'm going to do something because I genuinely want to impact, like make an impact. Like, not because like not necessarily as a woman, but as the leader in all of it. Generally want to make a real impact. So then romance, like whoever you're with doesn't matter, but like it doesn't matter because like in the entire context of things, but it matters to you because you're here for a very short period of time. So don't shackle yourself to a crazy person. And key thing, you might be the crazy person. Fix yourself. Like before you enter a relationship, I'm certainly kind of crazy, but like that's one of the reasons I'm like in a relationship. I don't have energy. I'd rather read manga. Like before you get into a relationship, make sure you have. I'm not, and this is personal code of conduct. I'm making it seem as if it's all advice, but most of the time I'm referring to myself. Before you enter like a relationship, you should make sure, or Dayo should make sure, I should make sure, we should all make sure that you are ready for one. And how do you decide that you're ready for one? In my opinion, I think you need to understand that this person is a person inside and out. Like this person is not some random person on the street. This person is not your parent. This is a person with hopes and dreams, and applies to any gender. Like any gender that is anybody, everybody. This is a person, this is an individual. I do not own this person. This person is choosing to be with me. We're probably going to talk about relationships and money like eventually, but like this person is choosing to be with me for whatever reason, but I do not own this person. And it's important that I take care of myself in this relationship. I should treat this person with love and respect. I should try to help this person to improve, help this person succeed. But I should never, in any reason, let this person bring me down. I should never let this person make me feel less than. I should never let this person. The same thing, I should give and also take. That is one thing people do. You can't just give all your heart without taking any heart in return. Relationships are 50-50. One person should not be, basically, see me raining down advice and never been in a relationship, but like relationships should be 50-50, and understanding that each party of the relationship is important. And I think I want to eventually talk about like financial aspects because it ties in with being like middle class in Nigeria. But like especially when young people, like people who get married, their careers are not going equally, and I'm telling you this, it does not matter. So far the people, like you sit down and have a conversation of who is more stressed at work. It's not just about like somebody can be making more money and still doing like house chores because the way they make their money is not like irritatingly stressful. Do you get? So it's like who is more stressed? Who has more time to give? I don't think money should be a factor in deciding housework, because I feel if you're a couple, all your money, because you made a decision that you are two adults, you should keep track of how much each individual is contributing, because no matter how much you love each other, you don't know if shit might hit the fan one day, you don't know. But you have to be very honest with each other, like how much are we contributing and how can we help each other. So like that's about okay, is that about it? That's gone through the optimistic nihilism part of it. Then the Ubuntu. Now this is good. I think it's like this is the first time I feel like Ubuntu is always the more complicated one, because there's like I want to get more books on Ubuntu, but it's understanding that society is a function of me and you. And I think a couple relationship in whatever country or whatever context is you guys are a unit, you guys are together, you guys are your own society. And I think as a couple, it should be the phrase in Chinedu's definition of Ubuntu, which is like, I am me because you're you or something. I don't remember that time when he was like, I am because you are. That should be especially true in a relationship. So like, thank you very much. I think, yeah. That's Dayo, and it's been Personal Code of Conduct.